Hi there, this is the first in a series of videos about developing flexible fingers on the bow. What you're going to need to do, the exercises I'm going to show you, is a pencil. But first I want to talk a little bit about what we mean when we say flexible fingers. So you may have seen cellists play where you noticed that their fingers were moving a little bit. There's a good example of flexible fingers. But why do we want to do that? We want to do it because it helps with articulation, with playing short notes and notes with accents. If you can be utilizing little muscles in your hand as opposed to your whole arm, that can help you be more precise. There's also a tone improvement that happens when you're really cushioning your arm and your hand into the bow, because you have kind of shock absorbers in your hand when it's more flexible, as opposed to holding on with sort of a death grip and applying your bow to the string. We've probably all felt that sense of tension. Your thumb might get sore or your wrist might get sore when you're hanging onto the bow too tight. And so one of the ways that we release that tension and develop more relaxation is by learning how to do directed things with the bow fingers. The first exercise is just going to be your hand. I will do a close-up on this so that you can see it. I'm going to take my thumb and my first finger, put them together, and then I'm literally just going to straighten them out, bend them, straighten them out, bend, like a million times. You want to get so that you can do it kind of fast, slow. So I'm really straightening them, I'm really bending, and they're going together, and my other fingers are wiggling around a little tiny bit as I'm doing that, and that's fine. So there's exercise number one. For exercise number two, I'm going to use that same idea of the flexible bending, straightening fingers, but now I'm going to hold onto the pencil as if I were holding a cello bow. This is actually how I teach people to hold the cello bow. If you're not very familiar with this, I actually have a video saying how to hold a cello bow that takes a pencil and sets the hand up this way on the bow. So it's the cello bow is really the same size. The stick of the bow is very similar in size to the stick of a pencil, so you shouldn't have any problem holding the bow. One thing I want you to notice is where your thumb is. I'm hoping that you are someone that plays with a bent thumb. If you aren't, these exercises are going to be more difficult for you. So the first part of this exercise is just to do that straightening and bending that you did before. And when you do this, you're probably going to feel like you're pushing your bow away from you. You're probably going to feel like you're rolling the pencil that way, away from your hand. And what we actually want to be doing is having the pencil go sideways. This is a much, much, much more complicated maneuver. I've got my two middle fingers off, so I'm really balancing the bow on my first finger and my pinky. And as I'm doing this motion, my pencil is moving. As I bend my first finger, my pencil moves on my pinky sideways. And the way I'm doing this is by getting my thumb to point the knuckle of the thumb towards the point or the end of the pencil, as opposed to having my knuckle pointing down. So if my knuckle is pointing down, it would be as if I was really, really tilting my bow a lot. Then my knuckle points down. Then when I do the straightening, I'm going to roll the pencil, which is going to stand in for the cello bow. I'm going to be rolling it down, and I want it to roll sideways by straightening my hand this way. So I'm squaring off my hand. I'm not as pronated. I'm not as sitting on my first finger, but I am more square on the pencil, and that allows my thumb to point there. So that's your exercise, is see if you can get good at maneuvering the pencil. And it might take you 2 minutes or 2 weeks or 2 months. Check out the next video to see what the next steps are once you've figured out how to do this.